Okay, hi everybody. Morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am so excited to be here on the very first day of the Personal Redemption Retreat. I'm so excited to be here with you on this journey and to really watch the transformations that happen in all of your lives. If you are here with us live, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear where you are tuning in from. I'd love to hear what goals you have for this to achieve. So you can go ahead and drop them in the chat. For those of you watching on the replay, I would love to hear from you as well, so I can ensure that I am serving you at my highest level and giving you exactly what you came here for. So go ahead and let me know in the retreat, again, in the chat box, where you're tuning in from and what you're looking to gain. And I will make sure to incorporate all of that in this 7-day virtual retreat. So today I am so excited to be teaching you about total self-care. I'm hoping that all of you can hear me. It says my internet's not stable. If one of you can kind of let me know if you are hearing me well. So today I'm so excited to speak about total self-care. This is something that I have really developed as a coach to really help everyone that I meet, to really help them be able to step into actualizing their fullest potential. So it's a very interesting thing, is that when people think about like having these big goals or transforming an area of their lives, they don't often make the connection between achieving that goal or reaching that, pinnacle of success with self-care. And what is important to understand is that when we step into total self-care, first I'm going to kind of give you like an overview of what your life is going to look like, and then we're going to go ahead and get into all the details and all the practical ways that you can implement into your life today. So when you step into total self-care, when your cup is so full with all of the things that you need on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, what happens is that it creates this space inside of you that is peaceful, that is calm, that is loving, feels empowered, that feels brave, that feels confident, that feels all of the positive feelings that you want to feel in order for you to be into that pinnacle of success. So what's so interesting is that when you want to achieve something, right? If you're looking to have call in a relationship in your life, or you're looking to step into a higher level of growth personally, or you're looking to step into more professional success, what is it that you really want? It's not so much that you want the actual thing. Well, obviously you do, right? But what you're really wanting is the feeling that you're getting, the life that you live, the person that you become when you have all of that, right? If you think about it, that's when you daydream about it, when you like long for it, that's what you want. And the fastest way that I know to really step into that is to really start by focusing on total self-care. So what's total self-care and how can you implement it? So total self-care, as I hinted to before, is really learning how to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically every single day. So I know that like when you hear every day, sometimes people kind of get a little scared off, like, gosh, am I going to have to spend 3 hours a day? Am I going to have to like change my life around? Absolutely not. I'm here to tell you that this is something that is so feasible, no matter how busy your lifestyle is, no matter how hectic your life is, or no matter how much time you have, right? If you have loads of time, then you'll have that extra benefit of being able to put even more time. Have a really hectic life, just like you're still going to be able to implement it. So what's total actually look like? So I'm going to start with the physical, because it's so important. I think that one of the things I hear most often from clients and for people that I speak with is people completely forget that they are a physical body, and they forget that like you physically need energy, you need mental clarity, you need all that in order to be able to actually reach any level of success, actually achieve anything really in your life. So physically, what I love to tell people is that firstly, it's very helpful for you, for your physical energy, for your vitality, for your mental clarity, for all of that, to be able to eat nutritious, healthy meals, right? So I'll give you like a general idea. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, but I have worked with them in the past, and I've just cultivated a lot of knowledge in terms of physical health. So I'm going to give you just a really quick overview of what that should really look like. So typically in an adult, should be eating about 4 to 5 servings of carbs a day, about 7 to 8 grams servings of protein, and you should be having about 3 fats included in your meals, as well as a few servings of fruit and vegetables. You can have as many as you want. And the idea is that the more vegetables that you eat, the more nutrients you're giving to your body. There's also vitamins that are also extremely helpful to have to really bring your energy level. There's a direct correlation with the way that you're going to feel in your physical body to the food that you actually put in it. Okay, so that is really, really important to really try and focus on, having more wholesome foods, having more nutritious meals, because that is going to make a tremendous, tremendous difference in the way that you feel like as you're going about your day, and the way that you feel physically affects your mental and emotional state continuously. Okay, so that is my quick overview on what what the healthy eating should look like. The next thing that I love to tell people is that it is so crucial to exercise, especially if you are a high achiever, like my people are, like I myself love to, step into that space of being really high achiever. You must exercise. It is so crucial because what happens is when you exercise, firstly, it releases endorphins. You feel good. It's that feel good hormone in your body that just makes you feel incredible. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel on top of the world. It makes you feel like you can go and achieve any goal. And truly, to achieve any goal, it's literally the thoughts that you have and those thoughts that create the feeling, and the feeling that creates the action. And so when you exercise, so to say, like, if you have a very busy life and it feels like, gosh, exercise just feels so hard and so far off, and take 5 minutes and walk around your block and see how you feel differently. It's an incredible way, in addition to releasing the endorphins and making you feel good, it's an incredible way to process all the emotions that you have in your life. Everybody has emotions as we go through life, as we have challenges, as we have difficulties, as we have wonderful things as well. It all creates all these emotions inside of us. And this is just the way that God created us, right? He wants us to have feelings. He wants us to feel empathy and love and sorrow and pain and struggle and joy and optimism and gratefulness and gratitude and all of that. He wants us to, it's a multi-dimensional experience that we have. And exercising is one best ways to release all of those emotions and to feel so much better. So I love to recommend that everybody step into really starting to exercise every day. And what I love to say is, when you exercise, don't see it as a punishment. Don't say it's like, gosh, it's something I gotta do. Rather, it's something like, wow, how lucky I am that my body is able to do this. As a way of like celebrating that your God has given your body this strength and this ability, this ability to exist in this world, because this is how we exist in this world with our bodies, right? And another important thing to note is that when you are caring for your body, you're less prone to getting sick. You're less prone to having the flu or a bad day where you're just feeling really run down. When you're caring for your body, you're putting strength, you're putting energy, you're putting vitality into it, and you feel so much better and you feel much healthier. And studies show that people who really take care of their bodies have very, very few health challenges as they age. So this is something that's super important and is really, really going to make you feel so, so good. So I highly, highly encourage each one of you watching this to make sure that you're eating 3 meals a day. Make sure you're getting at least, I love to say at least 5 minutes, but truly the absolute best is to do 20 to 30 minutes a day. I personally used to love running. It gave me the biggest high ever. At this point, I am not able to run. And right now I am doing a rowing machine, which is Really awesome. So I really encourage you to explore the different options that are available to you, depending on your physical health, depending on, if you need something low intensity, the rowing machine is a great exercise. If you're looking for more high intensity, running is awesome, and kettlebells, and there's so many options. I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, so that's what I really wanted to cover in terms of physical health. If anyone has any questions at any point during this call, I want you to go ahead and drop them below and let me know, because I would love to make sure that I'm answering all of your questions. I'm going to go ahead and look at the chat real quick. Amazing. We have Sasha, I believe this is, yes, Sasha from Los Angeles, and her goal is to up-level her life. Well, Sasha, you are in the right place. This is all about up-leveling all areas of your personal and professional life. But personal, we have Alana from Jerusalem, Israel. Wow, so excited to have you here. Okay, I see I was slightly glitchy. So my apologies. I hope that the rest of this goes smoothly and that you're able to hear me well. And those of you that are watching this in the replay can hear me well as well. Okay, so the next area of total self-care that I love to say is our mental health. Now, mental health is so large, multifaceted, and so multidimensional, but it is such an important space for us to really learn how to cultivate. Okay, mental health, I love to say, there's so many people that speak about so many different mental illnesses, and it's so important that this is being brought forth. Okay, because everyone, single person walking around this beautiful planet that God has created experiences mental health challenges at different points in their lives. But what's also really important to understand is that everyone has the ability to have the best and strongest mental health, that when these experiences come up, when you have different challenges or different struggles, you're able to have a strength internally. You're able to have the wisdom internally to be able to, I love to say, move through it rather than allow it to traumatize you or create limiting beliefs. And that's really, or you're able to move through the anxiety or the depressing thoughts or all of those things that kind of come up for you. And it's definitely a process to get to the state where you have exceptional mental health. And I'm going to give you as many tools as I can here today, because this is so important. And I really know, and I've seen how much mental health, like the thoughts that you literally create your reality. And I've seen so much how the thoughts that you have, the state of your mental health is literally a direct reflection of what your life actually looks like. If you're receiving what you want in your life, or you're in a state where you're feeling lack and you're not able to actually receive what you want, and you're feeling like there's so many things that you need and there's so many things that you want, and there's just so many pieces of your life just don't feel in order. Mental health is really the space to start stepping into and start taking stock of your own internal space and your own mental health. I love to say is, like, when you are starting this out, grab every single opportunity that you have in your day to just focus on your own thoughts. And when I say that, what I mean is like, all of us have so much going on in our lives, all right? Many of us are juggling a professional life, a family, our own internal self. Some of us are juggling a marriage, and there's just so many different facets to our lives. And it's really important. What happens is oftentimes our thoughts tend to go to our children or our spouse or our business or our clients. And so much of our thoughts on other people, right? Does that sound familiar? There's just so much of like that proverbial to-do list, right? There's just constantly other things being thrown at you that are grabbing your attention. And so what I love to say is take time to just focus on you, to just listen to yourself. You are your very first priority. And I'm telling you that when you make yourself your first priority, you're going to see so much shift internally. You're going to see so much changing. So what I love to say is start with taking time in the shower to just think about, check in with yourself. Like, how am I feeling today? How am I doing? What's going on in my life? What is it that I want to change? What is it that I want to step into? What thoughts are going through my head? Am I experiencing a lot of negative thoughts? Am I experiencing a lot of negative feelings? Am I saying things to myself, gosh, I wish I could find the perfect guy for me. I wish I could find the perfect woman, but she's just not out there, right? Am I saying things like that to myself? And then when you catch yourself having a negative thought, or you're saying to yourself, are my children going to ever grow up to be healthy people? Are they going to grow up to be the people that I dream of? Because parenting is very difficult, right? And oftentimes there's so many doubts along with that. Or if you're thinking to yourself, like, is my business ever going to be what I want it to be? Am I ever going to really step into actualizing my fullest potential? Am I really going to make that difference that I was put here on this earth to make? Am I ever going to step into being able to fulfill my soul's unique purpose in this world? And what I want to share with you firstly is that I was there. Okay, I was there just a couple of years ago, before really becoming a coach. There were so many pieces of my life that were not where I wanted them to be. All right, including my professional life. I worked in marketing, e-commerce marketing for 10 years. It was never my truest calling in life. It was definitely my soul's purpose. And so what I want you to understand is this is actually a path that I walked through in a very, very deep way since becoming a coach. And which is why I'm like just so excited to share it with you, because it's been so amazingly transformative for me, as well as the many clients that I have been able to help step into transformations. And so I'm excited to see all of you really implement this into your life and to really see the shift happen in this retreat. So what I love to say is, like, when you're in the shower, just ask yourself. So those thoughts that you have when you say, like, gosh, I'm never going to have that. Am I ever going to have that business? Am I ever going to have that spouse? Am I ever going to have the money that I want? Am I going to ever be able to step into abundance? What you do is, when those thoughts start to come up, I want you to ask yourself an empowering question. I want you to say, what if that perfect man, those perfect clients are out there? What if there are people that are waiting for me to shine my light? Gosh, can you imagine? That person is waiting for me. That person is waiting for me to up level, to step into a higher version of myself, where I'm confident, where I feel good about myself, so that I can actually make that difference, so that I can actually meet them, so that I can actually transform their lives, so they can become my clients, so that I can make my difference in the world. So that's one incredible way that I have literally found to be the most life transforming way of really changing your, when you have those negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts are really limiting beliefs. I learned this from a friend of mine, Hamadina Zweibel, all about limiting beliefs. And we all pick up beliefs about ourselves and about the world and about family and about so many different things that they limit us, right? Like, so oftentimes people say to me, like, self-care, I only have time for that once a month, or, oh gosh, I never really, oh, sure, I grab a coffee, every few months with my friend. Like, that's not enough. It's not even like a quarter of what you need to be able to step into what you're really wanting, right? You're wanting to feel amazing. You're wanting to be your best self. You're wanting to step into a higher version of yourself. And that takes effort. It takes work. But the beautiful thing about total self-care is, this is not work that feels hard. This is, I mean, at it may take effort. It takes a certain level of consciousness. It takes an awareness. But this is not things where, like, gosh, I got to do more work. It's things that bring more pleasure into your life. It makes you feel good. Like, you feel good physically nourishing yourself. You feel good when you're taking, really pay attention to your thoughts. And what I, the shower is just one example. Another example could be when you are when you are driving you're driving somewhere in the car, like utilize that time when you're in the grocery store, like utilize every moment that you do have alone to yourself to really to question if you're living your best life. And if you're not, like, what can you do to improve it? What can you do to change it? What does your soul truly want from you? What values do you have? Right? And so all the thoughts have as you begin to transform them and as you begin to replace those limiting beliefs with stronger beliefs, with positive beliefs, with knowing that you can step into joy and you can step into love, step into the highest self-esteem, all of that, that is what's going to bring you forward. That's what's going to all of a sudden open up doors. Like literally, it's so amazing. What I love to see is, like, clients always say, and I've seen myself, and people say to me all the time, like, when you start to do this work and you start to experience more joy and you start to experience more love and you start to experience more pleasure, all of a sudden, like, your reality shifts. Like, God sees that you are doing this work. He sees you are trying to step into this space. New opportunities come your way. All of a sudden, you meet someone that wants to, or you meet someone that knows of somebody that might be the right person for you, or you find a parenting expert that just speaks to your heart, and you're able to, and you know that, like, gosh, this is going to help me in my parenting. Another, like, oh my gosh, like, beautiful, beautiful thing that I learned in my coaching course, actually, is that when we choose, when we people, humans, when we choose to go in the right direction and to make a change in our lives, God sends an angel to walk with us on the way towards our goal. And so we are literally assigned an angel, a malach, that will walk with us from where we're at right now until we receive the full transformation. So it's such an incredible thing to understand, is that, like, we literally have the ability to completely transform all the negative areas of our lives. Like, Hasidus teaches that the secrets of the Torah teach that every single challenge that we are given is given literally just in order for us to completely transform it, in order for us to completely step into the complete opposite and experience the most beautiful, beautiful reality that we can possibly achieve. And it's really, really incredible, because when you experience something amazing after experiencing something very, very painful, you appreciate it in the most beautiful way. You appreciate it in the deepest level of soul and your heart. And it's really, really, really incredible. And that how much more pleasure you experience from it than if you would have just had it right away, right? Like, it's just like, if you would have had it right away, you wouldn't enjoy it. It wouldn't mean anything to you. And so our mental health is really like that. It's really just pulling thoughts out that don't belong there, pulling thoughts that are not bringing us forward, and instead giving ourselves amazing, encouraging thoughts and affirmations. I love to say, like, affirmations is something that some people really, really appreciate and some people find extremely helpful. But what I love to say is, like, it's kind of something you should be giving to yourself constantly, right? Like, when an experience shows up in your life, whether it be challenging or something where you just need to step into being brave or confident, because you're just stepping into a higher level of growth, and you're meeting someone that is just someone up to, and you have the nerves, or whatever experience shows up for you, right? What's really being called for you is to really step into that space. And so to say to yourself, like, gosh, I have the ability to be there. I have the ability to be there right now in this very moment, and to just look within and dig within and know God has created this experience for you, and you have the ability to have the very best outcome. Every single experience that God creates is by divine providence. It's for your very, very best. So your mental health is, again, it's something that really, like, it's something that you consistently work on every day. And what happens is, it's just Gosh, it's so beautiful. You'll notice by the end of this retreat, as you're doing all this work, as you're paying attention to your physical self, as you're paying attention to your thoughts and really up-leveling your mental health, you're going to notice that you're a different person internally. You're going to notice that all of a sudden the things that used to trigger you or make you really upset or anger you, all of a sudden they don't feel so big anymore. All of a sudden you're going to start feeling more positive feelings towards things. And the more that you do this work, as these things, as these big life-changing experiences come up for you, what you start to recognize is like God is showing you a lesson. There's a lesson here for you to learn. And you're going to start saying like, okay, God, what is the lesson? And you're going to start digging deep within yourself to look for the lesson, to understand what experience this is meant to what this experience is meant to actually teach you, and what area of yourself internally is meant to be transformed because of this experience. And you know, it's just I'm trying to think of the right words for this, but it's literally just the most peaceful and empowering way to go through life, because there are always going to be challenges. There are always going to be different things that are literally thrown at you that you're like, gosh, I have no idea. Like, God, really? This is what you want me to deal with? But as you are up leveled, that initial thought of like, God, this is what you really want me to deal with gets changed to like, okay, God, yes, you created the refuah before the makkah. You created the healing before the illness. And so there is that strength inside of me. There is that wisdom. There is that ability, that level of patience, that level of empathy, whatever that experience is calling on you, that exists inside of you, and you're able to call on it as the experience is actually happening, and you're able to show up as your better self and have a better outcome, right? Because the way that we interact with people, the way that we show up in an experience is really what is going to make sure that you have the outcome that you want versus an outcome that you really truly don't want. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share in terms of mental health. There's so much more that I can share about. I can speak about mental health for hours and hours, how to release PTSD, how to move through anxiety, how to up-level depressing thoughts. But this is what I wanted to share, that overall, it's really, this is where it starts. This is the base level of like, okay, you want to work on your mental health, you want your mental health to be improved, this is where you start. Paying attention to your thoughts, transforming them, asking yourself questions, and really learning how to up-level all the possibilities in your mind. And if any of you watching now questions about mental health, or anybody watching the replay, feel free to drop your questions, because I would absolutely love to answer them. There is nothing more that I want throughout this retreat than to provide you with the utmost value and to ensure that you are receiving the transformation that you came here to experience. Okay, now I'm going to touch on health. Emotional is a big one and an important one, and one that oftentimes people are very apprehensive into, because so many of us grew up being told that emotions don't matter, they don't exist, right? They don't exist. Just pretend they're not there. Just push them down. Just don't experience them, don't experience pain. But what it's so important for people to understand is that the only way to experience joy is by being able to experience pain. And I know that's difficult, and I know that it's hard to hear that, but truly, right? Because think about it. When you experience deep pain and then you experience joy, how wonderful, how incredible, how meaningful is that experience of joy for you, right? And so our emotions are really an important component to our mental health, to our overall health overall, and to being able to up-level all areas of our life and being able to receive what we want. The way that we feel is really important. And emotions are one of those very funny things where I almost want to say, like, we're not supposed to, I mean, not I almost want to say, I want to say that we're not supposed to control them. We're not supposed to say like, gosh, I'm only going to feel happy today. I'm only going to feel good. That's all I'm going to feel today. And that's it. Like, that's not the way that life works, right? We have lots and lots of layers of feelings, and feeling negative feelings is okay. It's normal. We're supposed to feel them. And what's important to understand is that when you don't, I want to just paint a really quick picture of what happens when you don't feel, because everyone that I know has stepped into a space of like, kind of like, gosh, I just don't want to feel that. I want to only feel the good. I want to forget about the negative ones. I want to just pretend they don't exist, right? And so I want to paint a really quick picture. What happens is when you don't feel all of your emotions, your negative emotions get buried in your subconscious. And oftentimes what that ends up looking like is that events become traumatic. And this is not to say that like certain events in your life will be traumatic regardless. Like, God forbid somebody loses somebody. Grief is very, very traumatic. A divorce is very traumatic. There are certain really big things that happen in your life that are very, very traumatic regardless. However, there's lots of little things that happen in our lives that can be traumatic, or if we choose to actually experience the feelings that we have in that moment, we're able to let it go. And instead of it getting buried in our subconscious, we release them. And then we're able to step into feeling the joy and feeling the positivity and feeling the gratitude and feeling blessed. Okay. So what happens is that if someone were to push down their emotions to a very, very, very extreme way, they start to become apathetic to life, and they lose the passion. And what you want to do is the opposite. You want to experience it all. And what I love to say is like, and why I call this part of the total self-care that you have every day is, all day you have emotions, even if you have the best day, right? You went to the zoo and you had a great time and your kids loved it and you loved it and it was just an amazing experience. Still going to have some negative feelings, and those are perfectly normal and perfectly okay. And they are meant for us to feel and meant for us to process. And again, like, the best way I'll have to say is like exercise. There's this great line from Tony Robbins: motion changes emotion. And gosh, every single time you are feeling negative or constricted, if you literally just get up and move, if you take a walk around the block, if you do jumping jacks, if you put on a song and start dancing, you're going to see that those emotions are able to move through you, and you're able to release them and step into a more positive and happy space internally, and you start feeling so much better. Another thing that I want to really say about emotions, it's so important to understand is that, or to recognize, is that when we experience something very, very painful, like very deeply, deeply painful, where it feels like, like, gosh, like it just something so big and so real and so difficult is presented. And we have those emotions. When we allow ourselves to actually feel it, what happens is on the other side, there is a gift waiting for us. Okay. There is literally like, God will give you like a thought that will help you move forward. God will present something in your way. I've seen this over and over and over again in my own life, where sometimes there's this line that a breakdown leads to the biggest breakthrough. And that is so prevalent when you're feeling these really, really big emotions, these really big feelings, is that literally on the other side, God has the answer for you. God has the next level, the thing that will transform it completely, waiting for you. And it's waiting for you to be able to feel it, to feel through it. And what happens is, if you shut down the emotions, you're going to shut down that gift as well. You're going to shut down that beam of light, that miracle that is waiting for you on the other side, because this is just the way that God designed us. He wants us to have feelings. God wants us to serve him with happiness, with joy. But the way that we do that is we have to feel those feelings, because then on the other side, we're able to access this level, this depth of joy, this depth of pleasure, of experience that we could not possibly tap into if we don't actually feel those emotions. So those are super, super important for you to really just allow emotions to be. Oftentimes I say, even like, say you stub your toe, right? And like, and it's really painful, even to just allow yourself to, that hurt, like that really hurts, to just take a moment and say like, gosh, it really hurt. And then you walk away and you're able to move on. And like, it doesn't make a big difference in your day, right? And it's the same thing with bigger things, right? Like the more you're able to like just label those emotions and say, gosh, this is what it is. This is how I'm feeling. And then the feeling goes away. And what's important, what I also say is very, very important, is that once your body will let you know once you are done feeling all those feelings, and don't hang on to them. Okay. But it's so important not to hang on to them, because when you hang on to them and say, gosh, I felt all this pain. It's so difficult. It's so painful. And then your mind starts to go, I always feel so much pain. I always have challenges. Things always difficult for me. Those thoughts, those continuing to feel the feelings of pain and despair and guilt and shame, all that is what's going to lead to depression, right? And everyone's been there. Everyone's experienced depression. Sometimes I want to point out that sometimes it is clinical, depression. Sometimes there is an underlying physical thing. So don't tell yourself that if you are experiencing, depression, that is just from something physical, then, it's very, very important to address that as well. Depression starts in the thoughts that you have. And when you are allowing, so like I was saying, when you're done feeling those feelings and your body just feels like, allow yourself to connect with your body while you're feeling the feelings, so that it lets you know, like, gosh, okay, that felt good. Like people say, like they feel good after a good cry, but after the good cry, move into a more positive space. Allow the happy feelings, the good thoughts to filter in. And it's it's so individual and so obviously, different in each situation, but allow yourself to pay attention to what your body is telling you. Allow yourself to pay attention to what your thoughts and your emotions are telling you, because that is going to make all the difference in you being able to up level and to really, really live your best life every day, to feel like you love yourself and you love your life every single day. Excuse me. Now, the spiritual part, this is a really exciting part as well for me to talk about, because we are all souls in our body. Yes, we exist here in our bodies. Yes, this is the way that we exist in the world, but our soul is what actually gives us life. And our soul is a piece of God himself. God was, the Hebrew word is he was mitzamtzem himself. He condensed his light in order to create the world, and he put different sparks of himself, different pieces of himself inside the world and inside each human being. Our soul is what gives us life, and our soul is literally the reason that we're here in this world. Our soul was put here in this world in order to accomplish a very, very big mission. And every single one of you watching this has a big mission to accomplish. And the only way for you to be able to tap into it, to even know what your mission is to start to your soul. And what is your soul? Like, how do you listen to your soul? What is this thing, right? So the way that you listen to your soul is that the very first thought that you have when you are presented with a question in life, when you're presented with a situation, you're not sure if you should go in this direction or that direction. You're not sure if you should make choice A or choice B. The very first thought that pops into your head is from your intuition, and your intuition is literally your soul talking to you. So the more that you start to pay attention to those thoughts, the more connected you get with your soul. the more that you start to pay attention to the values, I really want to encourage everyone watching this to really take some time after this to really write down, like, what values are important to me, what values are important to me as a person, what values are important to me in a relationship, what values are important to me with my family, with my children, with my community, with my friends, like, to really, in this world, like, what is so important to me, because the values that you have, the things that are most important to you, that is what your soul was meant to do in this world. And there's so many facets to this, right? It's not like our soul has just one very specific mission and there's nothing. There's so many pieces along the way, right? Like, so for example, oftentimes people are inclined towards one specific good deed, right? And what we learn is that when you're inclined, say, to give charity to people, to have great relationships with people, to love your human, right? Those are all things that is your soul's purpose. If that is so something that you feel so strongly, it was given to you. Your desires are a manifestation of what your soul wants and what your soul's purpose is. So if your desire is to feed the homeless, then that is one of your soul's missions, right? It also says that when a specific good deed is extremely difficult for you to do, that is also your soul's mission. Your soul is put here on this world for however many years God puts you. May we all live till 180 plus. And it's the I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. So bear with me, please. You're put here on this world, and we're put here in order to step into the biggest personal growth, in order to transform our character traits, to refine them, to become the best people that we can be. And so God gives each one of us those specific good deeds that are very difficult for us. And they're there in order for us to transform, in order to refine our character. So that's another facet of what our soul's purpose is. Now, another layer is our desires. Okay, this is something that so many people have pushed down. Growing up, so many people have heard that they couldn't have what they wanted. They always felt like they were missing, they were lacking. They couldn't speak up, they couldn't be who they wanted to be, they couldn't show the world their true self. So many people have experienced this, right? Because the world was in a very different place when I was growing up as a child, and when many of you are growing up, right? But the world has shifted. The world is shifting. We are all stepping into our personal redemption, and we're all going to bring the final redemption through doing this work, through stepping into our truest self, through being able to use our voice, through being able to show people our truest self. And so all of us have these desires, and many times they're buried deep inside, under layers of limiting beliefs that say, gosh, you want that big house? You're never going to have it. You don't deserve it. People like you, they don't get things like that. Or you want that amazing success professionally? Nah, that's only for the lucky people. The people that made it to the top, gosh, they just had luck. God loves them more. Whatever thoughts you might have, right? So oftentimes people have all these layers, say, like, no, you can't have what you want. No, you're not going to have it. And what is important to understand, that Hasidus teaches that our desires come directly from our soul. Our desires were given to us in order for us to manifest them. And the way to manifest them, the way to see them actually experienced in our life, is to be able to firstly acknowledge it, to understand that it comes from our soul, to understand that God wants us to step into it. And when we start with understanding, like, gosh, this is something that God actually wants for me. He wants me to have that big house. He wants me to have that abundance financially. He wants me to have that wonderful. He wants me to make a difference in the world. He wants me to have a thriving business. When we understand all of that, then all of a sudden our thoughts change, and our reality starts changing, and our feelings towards it starts changing. Start visualizing without we start like daydreaming. Gosh, what's that house gonna look like? What's that thriving business gonna look like? Who are my clients gonna be? How am I gonna help them make this amazing transformation? How am I gonna step into actualizing my greatest potential? And when you start to realize this with all of your desires, and this is something that could be as simple as wanting to get your nails, wanting time to yourself, or having a beautiful furniture in your home. Like it's literally, it starts with the small things and then leads to the bigger things. So what I want you to take away from this, I want you to take away, like, take ideas and apply them in your life, apply them in the small things, apply them in the big things, because all of this is really going to shift so much for you. Another layer to spirituality is to really start with God, to really create a relationship with God. God is calling upon each one of us to create a relationship with him. This is literally God's plan for humanity, God's plan for the world, for the ultimate redemption, for each one of our own personal redemption, is to start creating a relationship with God, to speak to God from your heart, from your soul. You don't have to have a prayer book inside of you. You don't have to be in a synagogue. You don't have to be in a church. You can speak any moment. And when you are experiencing something difficult, something painful, reach out to God. Know that God is giving this to you in order to transform it, in order for you to step into your greatest light, in order for you to experience the greatest pleasure. So reach out to God, and not only reach out, I mean, don't reach out in a way and say, God, why did you give this to me? I can't believe this is all that you do to me. You give me this hardship and that hardship. That's not what God wants. That's not what God wants. Because then what you're saying to God is literally, God, I want you to keep recreating hardship for me. I want you to keep recreating, because this is what I live off. This is what I enjoy. This is where I'm focusing my energy. But instead to say, God, I know there's a miracle waiting for me on the other side of this. I know there is the biggest transformation. There's another layer of for me to step into, to feel more inner peace, to feel more whole, to feel more love, more acceptance, more confidence, more bravery, right? I know that that is what is there. And when we connect with God in this way, God says, this is what you want. This is what you are asking of me. And God gives you more of that. He gives you more miracles. He gives you more blessings. And it's literally just a lens shift, right? Because two people literally look at the same thing, and one person can see it in a positive way and another person can see it in a negative way, right? And so it's really just shifting your lens to see all the miracles around you, looking at the grass, looking at the trees, looking at nature and saying, wow, how abundant God's world is, how beautiful, how creative God is. Right? He created each one of us, and look at how different we all look. And gosh, if God could create me, if God could make my body work, right, with the trillions of cells. My husband works in the medical field, and he loves to say that our bodies are a bunch of chemical reactions that should not work, but yet they do. And that is the miracle of our bodies. Like, how amazing that is when you step into like this spiritual space of saying, like, gosh, I want to be in an intimate relationship with God. I want to see and experience his blessings in it. And when you experience beautiful things, to thank God, right? When you experience small, beautiful things, to thank God. When I get a parking spot that's close to the store and I've got my kids in the back, I always tell them, I say, like, look, God loves us. He created this parking spot for us, because you know what? He knows that it's much easier for me as a mom of young kids to be able to take my kids in from a closer spot, and that it'll keep them much safer. And so it's just, it's like, it's really in the little things, in the mundane things, as well as the big picture things, to really thank God, to really, to speak to God constantly in your mind. It's something that, like, I know that really waiting for all of us to step into this, because it says when in the end of time, when the final redemption is brought, the world will be filled with godliness. The entire world will recognize God, and each one of you have this amazing gift, this amazing ability to step into that right now, to step into experiencing your personal redemption by connecting with God. I want to just end off with sharing with you just that how powerful this has been for me. I can't even tell you the amount of openings that I've seen in my life. It says, God can open the what's the like a needle in a haystack, that you open an eye and God opens the full door, something along those lines. I can't even tell you how much of that I've experienced when I have started to just connect with God, like in in so many moments in my life. Like if I just, say I don't know, like out in the, I'm just like giving, this isn't something that I do necessarily, but like say I were out in the dark and I just wanted to make sure I was feeling safe, I'd be safe, right? As a woman walking in the dark, I'd be like, God, please keep me safe. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard like voices telling me like, I'm keeping you safe, or I know this is mind boggling. It was mind boggling to me. Like when this started happening, I'm like, what? Like, I can't believe this, but God is literally revealing himself in so many ways, in so many facets, in so many dimensions, so many different realities. Like, so many people are speaking. They're hearing angels, they're connecting with angels, they're having these supernatural experiences. And this is literally like each one of you has a gift inside of you, ready to be opened, ready to be unwrapped, to connect in this beautiful way, to speak to him, to bring his, into your consciousness, to bring into your reality that every single tiny thing that happens is and is and God. And even when these really, really big things happen, and I myself have just gone through, I'm still going through, I'm experiencing something really, really big in my personal, someone in my family was diagnosed with a medical condition, which is, it's really, really thrown our entire family for a huge loop. It's literally made my responsibility levels go up times like 100. But I know that through this, like, I know that God is here. I know that God loves me. I know that this is for my best. I know it's for my family members' best, even if it is very, it can feel very difficult, right? And I have to just feel those feelings and move through it in order to experience the greatest joy and the greatest pleasure, and in order to transform it. This was so exciting for me to be able to share with all of you. I really, really want that during this entire retreat, what I really, really want is for each one of you to take these ideas and not just listen to them and not just say like, oh, they're beautiful concepts, they're wonderful ideas. Miriam gave us all these great tools, and then just kind of like let the inspiration fade away. I really, really want you to step into actually taking action, making an effort, and really applying these in your life. And I really can't wait to hear how you are applying this in your life, how this is changing. And I want you to let me know in the group. I'm gonna go ahead and post some homework that's really just ways that you can implement this into your life. And I really, really, I can't wait to see what everybody responds, how everybody's doing. And if any of you have any questions or concerns, if any of you want to ask me something privately, feel free to private message me. I also have, I'm opening up some time this week to connect with you, just to speak with you, just to kind of get to know one another. It's so exciting for me to get to know people and to really get to know you and to be able to serve you in the biggest way. So I'm going to be dropping a link to my schedule. If you would like to kind of get to know me in a more intimate way, if you are just, intrigued by what I'm sharing and you just want to know a little bit more, if you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and book a 10-minute call with me. And I am so looking forward to getting to know you all. And I can't wait for tomorrow. Take care, everybody.